Hi everyone, welcome to the Native Wildman channel. Your host Sean Catfish Wilson today. And first of all, I'd like to say if anybody is in Manhattan, Kansas area or close to Manhattan, Kansas, and you like tea, try Ellen's Planted Teas. This is a berry oolong. They have many different flavors. The ingredients. This is really delicious tea. I like it a lot. And my rocks, obviously. Okay, and today what I'm going to go over with you is sharpening. First knife, I've got to touch up little. I don't have a good strop anymore. Mine kind of bowed up like that instead of being flat. It kind of bowed. So I'll probably strap it on my jeans off camera. But oh, and this knife I made myself. Well, not myself, but I had a little help making this. It was made out of a railroad spike. I made it out of a get together with blacksmiths. It was a craft moot. It was called a craft moot from Yarn Schmitter. And first of all, make sure the stone is wet. Now this knife, I'm gonna try and keep it on camera, but this knife doesn't need a whole lot of work to it. However, I do want to touch it up because I did cut through a tire with it yesterday. And it handled it pretty good. Just dropping it on my jeans. I would say this would probably be a spade foot or similar to a spade foot. Except for it has a belly that it doesn't have like a really flat area. But it may be ugly. I did the jimping myself. It was a lot thicker. In fact, almost the whole thing was, these marks went all the way down to about in here. And I just had it sharpened first, and then I decided to kind of reprofile it so it's basically a flat grind. The edge grind isn't perfect, but for a first knife, actually it's my only knife I've ever made. Okay, now I'm going to go into sharpening this knife. This is a Case Texas Toothpick bone green. It needs a little work, so I'm going to pull out my 400 grit stone, put my 1000 back in here. And this knife was a gift from a good friend of mine, Mike. Flatlander Mike. You've seen him a few times on my channel. Wipe it off. How much hair on my arm left? Well. That's a 400 grit stone. Pulling up lots of hair and skin. And these are Smith stones I'm using, by the way. Okay. This one actually didn't need as much work as I thought. We'll set this one up here, let it dry. It's actually a tri-stone set, but I don't hardly use the middle stone. I just go from 400 to 1,000. The other one is 600 grit. I think I have to look it back up online. You can look it up. Smith's tri-stone set. This one I do remember. It says it's labeled from 1,000 to 1,200. And the sharpening video was a request on one of my live feeds by Aiden. So and I've also found out on some of the smaller case knives, the smaller, like the mini Texas toothpicks and stuff, the higher grit stones, or the lower grit stones, the rougher stones, seem to not work as well sharpening the smaller thin blade knives. And me personally, I don't take all the factory grind off my first few sharpenings. They'll eventually come off. I just get it sharp. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's pretty sharp. I'm running out of hair on my arm because, you know, sharpening knife that happens. But there are many ways to sharpen knives. I like to do the back and forth method most of the times, and then I'll strop it normally on leather. But since my leather's kind of warped now, I have to get a new strapping pad or paddle. I think I'm just gonna get a paddle thing with the leather on it. And I normally just strap it with just the straight leather. Now the good thing about these case knives is they do sharpen up really, really easily. The steel feels really nice on the stones. This is actually one that I had in my tackle bag for a while. I need to put it back. Use it as a bait knife because it is a stainless steel edge. This has cut through bait fish quite a bit, and you know bone will kind of chip your edge. And this, I should have showed it to you before I sharpened it because it had some real bad flat spots on it. But not anymore. But anyways, there's a lot of cool people out there that do sharpening on YouTube too also. Crazy Sharp Mike, he does a really cool job sharpening, and he's really knowledgeable and explains things really good. Neves, he's done sharpening, and he's really knowledgeable about knives and knife steel. Him and Mike both are really super knowledgeable, a lot more than me. I just like knives. And if I like the way it looks, there's certain steels I avoid, like 8CR. I don't like 8CR, but that's besides the point. But, oh, I forgot to put something out here. Yeah. Anyways, peace and long life, my friends.